What's up, everybody? Are you feeling a little lost? Well, it's okay. You're here with AfterBuzz TV on the Being Mary Jane show. So stay tuned so you can get found.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
A little lighter.
I know. This is nice for our little indie lovers. If you guys recognize the song, it's the song at the end of the show. When Mary Jane got her flowers. She was happy stepping into her light. But before we step into ours, let's introduce ourselves. I am Howard III. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Howard III. Miss El Marie, where can we find you?
Yes, you guys can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at El Marie TV.
This song really is the jam. I did really. We miss good music at the end of these shows. Yeah. Hey, I'm Ronnie Jr. It's at randomly RJ. Yay. That's it. I'm not.
It was like there was something after that. Randomly RJ.
Dot. Sorry.
That was it. All right.
All right. Okay. All right.
Step into the light, Mr. Howard.
Let's step into the light. Okay, so we opened up with Mary Jane and Aaliyah coming in from a little house party at at a warehouse. You know, they doing their thing.
New York style.
Yeah, Bushwick. You know, so that's definitely taking a Manhattan girl out a little bit further. I mean, it's still like trendy now too, but like Bushwick definitely. If you're a new New Yorker, like what's her name, Mary Jane, like clearly she's not gonna be jumping on the L train. I mean, she didn't go on the L train, but she was around different atmosphere, which was cool. I thought.
Yeah, it was nice. And it was nice to see them actually go out together. Yeah. Which we don't usually, I mean, we still didn't see it, but at least we saw that they were actually out. At least we know that
Mary Jane is out. Like a few episodes ago, that's what we said we wanted. We wanted to see her being out. We wanted to see her, have another friendship outside of, care and, work and things like that. So that was good to see them out. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. So we see that when they come into the house, we find out that Aaliyah's been sending flowers on behalf of Justin because Justin's in Paris and apparently him and MJ aren't talking. Justin and MJ still aren't talking, but we're gonna let that be. And then we also see that the ex-girlfriend of Justin has passed away.
Right.
Yeah.
People were dragging her through Twitter, and we find out that she's actually passed. Which was it you, Marie, or Ronnie? Somebody said last week.
Someone on this panel did.
Yeah, I was feeling that way because of the way he was responding to her and some of the things he was saying. I was like, I feel like she may have passed away.
You hit it.
How did that make you guys feel? On his behalf, like, did you feel more sympathetic to him in that when you found out that news?
I would say for me, I think so, like a little bit because also because he was so private and he said out of his mouth that was the love of his life. So then to kind of relive that or relive those feelings or being brought back up and you having to tell people like, okay, like stop, she's dead, she's not out there. And then Mary Jane still, like, I was cringing a little bit while watching the episode because she kept pressing when she was like, well, maybe I should apologize and have him warn her. And he's like, don't worry about it, she doesn't have a digital footprint. And they're like, well, who doesn't these days? You know what I mean? And he's like, so it's like he's trying to give the hint, like, please stop, like, asking about it without saying it. And she's steady pressing. And so then he sends the link to her obituary. So.
I'm hoping that it does open up her eyes. Like we had talked about on the panel here, how like she's getting to, it's like she wants to show up for a relationship. That's one component, but she also wants to strategically like move her career. So by getting that bit of news, I just hope that she like kind of says, oh, maybe it's like too much. I didn't realize, I'm hurting people's feelings. I hope. I don't know if she'll back up.
And she needs to protect him. Like, if you guys are going to be in a relationship, then when you find out that news, then you do need to kind of protect him. You need to fall back and not be in the limelight so much with the relationship. You know what I mean? It's okay for people to know that you guys are still together, but it doesn't have to always be a thing. Like she said, she told Garrett, like, I don't want to continue to always talk about him. Like, they threw him in, or, she mentioned him in the little segment that she was doing, and it's like, okay, that's enough. Yeah. So I think she is starting to step up.
By the way, sort of unrelated, but definitely related. Like, I mean, we got sad, or we got sympathetic rather, when we found out she passed away. But like, we should actually be more sad that, that's very unfair. Just because she wasn't, an attractive to the standards of, Mary Jane or whatever. Like that's worth getting dragged. And even like that terminology, like it's just, isn't that sad that like we're using this word drag is a, like it's more just that's what it is. And I don't know. I feel like I'm acting holier than thou, but
especially if like when she didn't do anything to anyone, like even if she was still alive, it's like she didn't do anything. Like maybe it's still wrong, but I could kind of see where someone is coming from. If she was bad, she was just in the news for bad things, or had a bad reputation or something like that, or she was evil, she was a whore, whatever you want to call it. If she had a bad reputation, then I could see people wanting to be on Mary Jane's side and you know what I mean, like being in her little navy, her army, or whatever. You know how people always have these army of fans who want to take up for their star that they love. So I could kind of see it coming from there, but we don't know her from anything. She didn't do anything, and then people are just being
and
so
she was
mean.
an attractive woman. I mean, she was pretty. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was
like,
more so that she was more like a plain Jane than being unattractive. And I think that you have these two people who are in the spotlight. Then it seems like, well, he should maybe be with someone who is, like we have celebrities right now who their partners get dragged, like Amari Hardwick, that's his last name, from Power.
Yeah.
Those basically.
His wife.
They
all the
get
time.
his wife all the time. I just recently saw they posted something on Instagram, and I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, yep, they're about to get it. Because I'm just, and it's nothing wrong with that woman.
Yeah.
She does have strong features, but she's not ugly. She's not unattractive, but there they go. And for no reason, she's done nothing to no one, and the internet just goes in for no reason.
And
it's like all
there
you
should
can
be
do is
vocal emojis that because when I see somebody on the internet like dragging unnecessarily, I'm just gonna hear in my head Howard's. That's a verbal emoji right there.
I know, but I mean, speaking about the ex-girlfriend, we did find out a little backstory of her. We found out how Justin got his money. She was apparently invented some type of app or some type of
she's like part of
girl.
that tech company that he mentioned before, and she was a part of it. But it is really sad that like how she died. They said she died of cancer. She was only 32.
Oh, so sad.
So that is really.
And she had all these charities. I mean, that's nice that she was so much in love that she left everything for him, for Justin.
Right.
Maybe that's why he's still, still trying to hide her, because he's like, this was the love. Like, it's clearly they really love each other. I mean, you gonna leave me $30 million,
right? And they weren't even married.
Exactly. Or leave me stocks and bonds. I'm like, okay, all right, okay, I love you. But I wonder why he didn't marry her. Like, if they were that, I mean, not to say that marriage is something. Oh, yeah, that's true.
What'd you say?
What if they didn't get around to it?
Oh, just the cancer took her.
I mean, not to say you have to be married to prove you love somebody, but if you both share this common bond and you want to be with them forever, why not sign the paper?
There are people that I think I'm right by saying there's people that will be terminal and they'll still want that that power or just the ethics of what it means to pass on or whatnot.
And then to be on the other side of it, I'm not speaking. I just feel like there may be some people who feel like, but I'm gonna go, so I don't want you stuck to me. Or, after that, I want you to be happy. I want you to be able to move on. Maybe not next month, but I want you to have that freedom. So I think it can kind of go either way.
Right.
So, but you're right. Some people do want to, lock it down. Like, I want to say that I was married to you. And some people are like, you know what? I'd rather you be free.
Could it be possible they weren't together at the time? I mean, I know that sounds crazy because she did leave him the money.
Yeah,
but
it could be that too.
Like, because that could open up the idea that they had like that special love, like that unique, thing. And when she found out she was going, that's the person that her heart opened up to the most, I guess. Wow, it sounds really deep.
Yeah, but I mean, she seemed like a nice lady, and I just wish Justin would open up a little bit more. Maybe we could have saw him tell us this episode or two ago, but at least he got around to saying it. At least he finally let the cat out the bag.
And it opens the layers, because I always get like, I'm always more Team Lee. Well, I know that's over with, but I'm always like, Justin. You guys have heard me say that, like, But like, it does open up like his past a little bit. You know, you're getting through that situation, the love of your life, and she passes, and the money thing. Like, obviously, it shows why he's protective of himself, I guess.
And speaking of Team Lee over here, we see that Mary Jane meets Lee's new girlfriend. Actually does a little interview, and she comes out the gate
Swinging.
just swinging, throwing shade. That was Demetria from Housewives of Atlanta. Looking all good.
Was it?
Yeah.
I did not catch that.
Yeah.
I've not watched that particular incarnation of the show, the Atlanta one. But I watched 1 or 2 seasons, and I liked her a lot. So that's so funny.
Oh, wow. Yeah. She's a good time.
I only watched the Claudia Jordan season. Like one after
I
that.
think she was on a few episodes of that season.
I think so.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Now that you said that, and I did say like, oh, I really like her. Like, so that's awesome.
Yeah. So she does a little acting. I mean, this is not her little first go around. She's acted before, but we see her play the girlfriend, the author, who throws all this shade.
Jesse Lords, yeah.
Just meeting Mary Jane, not even a little hello. Just, did you read my book? Did you send out a tweet? Like, really, girl? MJ says she read it. She did her research.
Right.
I mean, did she have every right to throw shade like that? She's the new girl.
You came like completely after Mary Jane. It wasn't one of those situations where, unless we don't know that, but it wasn't an overlap situation like where you would have beef with her. She's the ex. You know, just stun on her a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, did you read my book that's on the bestseller list or something like that? You know, you throw the shade in that way to really like.
That's true. She should have marched in there. She should have walked the way Kara walks, and like she should have been all about like, yes, you're gonna be talking to me, like, but maybe the point wouldn't have been orchestrated. So yeah. It was bad. Mary Jane's like taken back. Like, what is happening?
Like, don't pretend like you like me or you have to talk to me.
Right.
Don't,
like,
what, girl? Like, I like your book. I know.
Right. Like, okay. Like, I thought at first before they revealed that was Lee's girlfriend, I'm thinking like, well, maybe she's coming at Mary Jane because she doesn't have kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. But that's not enough for you to go so hard.
Yeah.
You know, so I was just very confused at first.
I was like, did she rob you? Is she an old like friend you did dirty?
Right?
Like, who is this girl?
Did y'all overlap?
Exactly.
Is she Justin's sister?
Right?
That would have been a good one, though.
That would have been a good one.
I don't know.
Then I could understand it, right? Then I could understand
I know every detail, yeah.
But I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
But she reveals to MJ, like, oh, yeah, Lee's pitching a show about y'all's breakup. Excuse me, what? Not only are you telling people or doing this whole stand-up comedy thing, but you're trying to make money off of my heartbreak.
Yeah. And that is when she did channel in. We were talking a second ago. That's when she channeled into her petty. That is when she sat back in the chair. Right? She sat back in the chair and goes, oh, it's really not a problem at all. Like the voice changed. It's not a problem at all. It's like, oh, here it comes.
But I was just like, wow, Lee is pitching a show and making her out to be the villain.
Yeah, she said it makes Cookie look like a Sunday school teacher or something like that. Like, oh, gosh, he's dragging you.
Oh, yeah. And the part that got me the most, probably my favorite part of this whole season is the say I love you when they were having, random sex and then it turned. So when that got called upon, no one really even looked at her, but she had to like eat it. Oh God, I was like,
yeah, because Aaliyah was like, who would even believe that? Like, that's not true. So she's like,
and you felt Mary Jane like roll her eyes in, out, back. It was. I was like, I wouldn't
do that. And I remember, that was so awkward when she did that. I was like, no, Mary Jane.
You mean when when we watched it on the?
Yeah, when she actually did it. I was like.
But Elle Marie, gosh, that was one of my favorite parts of this whole season because when it. I don't know because just because when it rolled around that she did love him again, like, it just got me. I don't know. Maybe I've done weird stuff like that, you guys.
Right, you had a moment. We shouldn't judge you. That's fine.
I feel like we're always vulnerable on this show, but always foot in the mouth or something else in the mouth. No.
Well, we're not going to go back to HBO tonight.
All right.
We had enough. Showtime called. They want their show back. So.
This is daytime AfterBuzz today.
This is good day AfterBuzz today. So.
We're going to keep it light and fluffy. I think I just turned country there. I don't know why.
Oh, my God.
All right, Taylor Swift. I'm here for a girl. So, but yeah, so he's pitching this whole show to a network. So that sends MJ into this whole crisis mode where she's like, Aaliyah, get me down with Ryan Seacrest. Get me down, with somebody at night. And really, MJ decides she wants to go to the Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Which one? I was like, no, Ryan Seacrest is a better choice.
Right.
He's going to try to grill you, but he's not really going to get in like Charlemagne would.
Right.
Like, he's gonna get you, like, basically. I mean, I feel like he would have been worse than Aaliyah. They tried to do the little role play.
Aaliyah did good though.
She did do very well, but like that was like Charlemagne times 10.
You guys, what I wonder sometimes is she knows the right path, right? She knows she should be going to Ryan, but I feel like sometimes she wants to be a little messy, like just like she knew she shouldn't have overly exposed her relationship on social media. Sometimes I think she just wants to sabotage our own self. Yeah, Breakfast Club's fine. I can handle it. It's like, I don't know that you can.
Yeah, you can.
There's all three of them. One of them will get you.
Right.
She thinks that this is her brand, her core audience. She said my core audience.
Yeah, I
was
think that's
Breakfast
really
Club.
what it was.
And it's like, no, you're on daytime.
And I'm surprised even like that, like Garrett, what's the boss name, Garrett? Like does she get to make that move on her own, or does she have to get that stuff approved, like where she lends her media name to? You know what I mean?
That is a good question.
Like, because that's not necessally her audience. She could want it to be, but I don't think it is.
It
Exactly.
is not,
Yeah.
like, really anymore.
Come on, Mary Jane, you got a rap album coming out? No, you don't. That's what I'm saying. I think she
With her
wants it.
people.
That's what she wants that. Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too.
See, that would have been the
But
definition
it's
of a drag, though.
Yeah, it's still not her
Charlamagne.
audience though. Like,
But
they
she
always
thinks she
teach
could
you.
outdo Charlamagne, and then she's like, "Oh, I'll be okay."
Yeah. No, they teach you know your audience.
Exactly.
Know your audience, and like that's not it.
Definitely not it. But,
But like she said, but she made some good points though, talking about relationships and especially like black women in relationships. And it is hard, and you kind of do hold a lot of these things in the way that you're feeling, about things and about relationships, and about how you can kind of, as a black woman, you may not be able to react to a situation a certain way because you will be the angry black woman, because you will be the bitter woman. But then another race of a woman can act that same way. Oh, she's just upset right now, or she's, oh, that's sexy because she knows what she wants, you know what I mean? But it's like, we can't never step out of that box. So then it's like oppression. Then you just want to explode because you have been holding things in for so long, like she did. Like she just kind of let it all out.
Right.
Like everyone said, it's kind of been thing after thing that has been affecting Mary Jane, like Justin leaving, just the whole situation with the job, all the back and forth and the backlash she's gotten, trying to stand up for herself once again, So she made some good points.
Yeah,
but
she
then
sure
again, you kind of don't want to put that all out there like that in the media because you will be labeled.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Like Aaliyah said, bitter.
And it's so unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, she made every great point. So, what can she or what can anyone do about that situation? I mean, do you almost have to adopt Aaliyah's idea, which is like, oh, let's kind of not go there, but that's got to ruin your soul, also. It's the part of the job that's not fun.
I know, but poor Aaliyah, all she was trying to do was just help her for the interview.
Right.
And here MJ giving us this whole, it was a great, little breakdown. She did hit the key points, but it was like, Aaliyah's just trying to help you because Charlamagne is about to go in.
Right.
This interview can go all over the place. And Mary Jane had to put down her foot, which I don't know if she should have done that, but when she said, Aaliyah, are you my publicist? Or she said, you're not my friend.
I don't need a friend right now. I need a publicist. You are my publicist.
And that
not my
hurt.
friend. She literally said, not my friend right now. And I was like, whoa.
Well,
Mary
yeah,
Jane?
because she almost turned it around to Aaliyah as if, Aaliyah, you're not like fighting on the right side, and that was unfair because Aaliyah was, and she said it many times. I'm always hearing you, so that was definitely a challenge. But writing wise, like that scene was a fantastic scene.
Yes,
it
So
was.
that's classic being Mary Jane.
Yes.
And I loved how Aaliyah held her own.
Yes.
Like she said, I'm not a yes woman. So if that's what you're looking for, then maybe I can't do my job. And like
Yeah,
she said,
that
and then
was-
she said something like, "Are you gonna be able to do this?" Like, I always get the job done.
Okay.
Like she didn't back down at all. She didn't I get the job done and storm out. She gave her a little 2 cents back.
Yeah, she gave her a little shade.
Okay,
Said,
now I'm out.
Don't get it twisted. I always get my job.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just where do you
Let
want to
me
sit
know.
in the situation?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because we've
And
seen
I'm
you've had
not
issues.
gonna kiss your ass. So
Yeah.
next.
Exactly.
So I love that.
I'm just that mad that Mary J had to do her like that. Though.
She
You know,
didn't,
just
though.
you're not my friend. Well, we were just hanging out at the
Yeah.
party last night. Now all of a sudden I'm not your friend because I want to tell you the truth.
I think it was just really good for her to be able to say those feelings because it's kind of what she wanted with the Breakfast Club. She knows how the reaction will be or how it gets clipped online, or all buzzing around on the internet or whatever. So it allowed her to do that. So I mean, for that sake, I thought was really good.
That's true.
I mean, that doesn't solve anything, but still.
Yeah. It's a release.
Yeah.
Because she kind of got better.
Because she went everywhere. She talked about you can't sexually. What was it? You could be sexually objectified, but you can't own your sexiness because then
they'll call you a whore. And which I have seen with this show. I'll go on Facebook when the episode is airing, look at people's comments, and they're so quick to call Mary Jane a whore. a hoe. A hoe. I want to say hoe and whore together. Like, I don't know.
How does that work?
I don't know. That's a rough one. But no, they're so quick to call her that because, she's jumping from guy to guy. But Mary Jane has been in a relationship with just about everyone she's been dealt with on this show, except for her little fuck buddy.
Right.
But then when she wants just something real quick, she goes to the same person. So to me, it's like she just said, a man can do it, and he can totally explore his sexuality. He can totally objectify you. But then when a woman turns around and does it, now she's a hoe. You know what I mean? So she spoke a word there. I was like, yes, Mary Jane. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it shouldn't be that way.
Right.
She's working through her issues. She's working through relationships. And then people want to always say like, oh, well, you're too grown for this. But the thing is with people, if they don't acknowledge their issues, they're going to keep running into the same problem with those issues.
Right. And then she dropped that gem too, where it's like, okay, so these are the things that are going to be said about me if I express my truth. But why aren't we asking the bigger question? And this is for, so many different demographics. Like, why am I led to this situation? Why am I made to be like, and I don't think she was playing the victim on any level, but it's like, why am I put in this situation where I don't feel qualified, to be with Lee? Like, what is going on in the setup, And when you got that and a successful career and an interesting family, like it's makes you want to hug Mary Jane and be her friend,
Right? Like, let it out, girl.
Yeah.
Let it out.
I know, just go ahead, girl.
Baby.
But I mean, we see why she was led like that. Why she thinks she shouldn't be with Lee. Because speaking of family, we saw, Patrick, Mary Jane's parents, also finally get down to the nitty gritty. So we see Patrick come home and say, "Hey, where's mom at?" Paul says, "You know what? She not here." Patrick think this is just another little joke.
One of those little small fights.
Exactly, about the living room, about the little bedroom. But Paul says, "Why don't you go ask your mother why she's not here? Like, why don't you go talk to her?" And so,
and this is as Patrick is really doing good. I love the scene with the future Niecy's boyfriend. No, the young kid. Like, he was just such in that good space. And I know that was like shown on the trailer, but so you really saw him, hey, what did he say? Like, I just love this part. If your family is not there for you, by the way, there's always going to be somebody in this situation. I want to be the person for you. Like, he was just speaking on the addiction that he got through.
True.
And then he gets this news.
And now that I think about it, it kind of foreshadowed the situation with Paul, with like him and Paul, I guess you can still say his dad, because it's like he mentioned like they don't always have to be kin to you. They don't always have to be your blood.
Right.
But they can be there and support you.
That's true.
So I'm like,
I just can't. It was a lot to take care of. Like, Helen just gone, I was in a bind, baby. Like,
when she said that, I knew exactly. I was like, oh.
Yes.
Didn't you guys
Frank is his daddy.
It was too much for us to take, first of all. We knew what was going to happen as far as the hookup, right? But then when that part came, you know what I really felt, guys? I felt like it was somebody we knew personally. Like, I felt like I went on like a truth, like maybe your family or my family, like a truthful, like, oh, not everyone knows about that, but that did happen. Like, it felt so, like, it touched me because we didn't know she was going to go that hard.
Yeah.
I thought she would say, yes, we did, hook up.
Exactly.
But the father thing, which was my, sort of prediction last week, like, oh my gosh,
But then to hear it actually, like, that
Yeah,
is true.
exactly.
That's what's happening. It was like, she was like, I was in a bind, and what kind of bind do you have to be in to kind of, you know what I mean? Like, going up, like, what do you... Ooh.
Exactly. Like, how did she choose? Because I know she said Frank re-enlisted, so he was kind of gone, but then Paul stepped up.
Because he was the best friend, and he was always around.
That's true. And then she's in a bind, so she was like, let me just go with him. But she never really loved him, which is sad.
Well, I don't know if she didn't really love. There's just different categories.
Strong like.
Yeah.
It was a strong like with him. All these years, it was a strong like. Because she didn't love him if she slept back with Frank.
I don't know if I could agree with that.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
I
right.
think, and I also, I think you can really grow to love someone, and you you love the things about them and things like that. And like she keeps saying, it's a different feeling that she gets with Frank. You know what I mean? And it can be one of those feelings that is a little bit dangerous, like kind of like with Mary Jane and Lee and Paul. Like, and then they kind of reference that later on in the season, but it's basically like Lee was the safe option. He was the good choice. Where Justin is like, boom, he lights that fire and things like that. But you touch fire, you get burned. You know what I mean? So sometimes a fiery relationship, that chemistry that is just so explosive, is not always the best relationship.
And I mean, she talked about it being the 70s. That's one issue. But I think what was cool is like, I mean, it's not cool because what she did is obviously a challenge. But, at some point we all make these mistakes, right? We all go through these things. And for her to sort of put back her life together, it wasn't honest, but I don't know. I always think differently in the fact that like one of my cousins, like her birth father is not like my uncle, right? But like my uncle just really like held her down. So there was no lie or anything, but just the idea of like, regrouping, and whatever happens, and really letting that man be the father. But yeah, at some point he does need to know.
Yeah. I don't think they should have that's not something you can hide for forever.
Exactly.
Clearly.
I feel like they should have told him though a little bit sooner than because he's probably in his mid-50s on the show, or at least closer to 60.
Yeah, he's got to be because not closer to 60, but around 50
like
because
50.
Mary Jane's 40, so he's
true.
like mid 40s to possibly early 50s. So yeah,
sometimes.
And while I thought it was hard with Patrick dealing with his I'll say his father, because that is his father.
Yeah.
I don't see that challenge being something that sticks too long. I think he is going to not necessarily blame the mom, but he's going to resignate it. He may spin out of control, yes, but I think he's going to resignate it and say, you know what, Paul was my father. Like he's not to blame. It did look scary because he grabbed him or whatever, but I don't think that's gonna be something that stays.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm hoping that he doesn't spiral out of control. The fact that he went to the meeting, I'm hopeful.
Yeah,
but it's so with an addict, it's just so
exactly.
it was so risky.
It was just so sad. Him sitting at that AA meeting, and he's just like, I'm ready to just pretty much hang up my sobriety and just go back down in that hole.
And also opens up a great view of like the addiction, how it works, in the sense of like this is there's lots of triggers, but this is definitely a huge trigger. Like I said, I really just hope that he can. I don't know how he's going to get over his mom. I don't know how that's going to work, and I don't know how the drug use is going to take effect. The only thing I really want to happen is for him to say, you know what, this is a bad situation. I do feel outcasted. Would have been nice to know my real father had drug issues, but I want him at the end of the day to say like, but man, this man came to bat for me, like Paul, so I, because he's a father too, so he knows.
Exactly.
Anyways, we don't know, but that's it.
And
great.
I think it was a better situation, because then if you're an addict and your parent is an addict, how do they help you out of that? Where you know what I mean? Even though like he was saying, you were ready to disown me, because that was tough love.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas if you guys are one and the same, how are you ever going to get better?
And it's probably hard for Paul because he's like, I'm looking at Frank. He's probably thinking like, not only are you Frank's child, but you got the same traits as Frank, who, and you almost had a wife. So he's probably like, tough love. You're Frank's child. You're not my child. Like,
too.
So it's a lot for him.
Yeah, Paul navigated very well despite all of that stuff.
Exactly. Do you think Frank should have said something when he came to visit? Like, hey, are you going to say something about Patrick? Or are you going to talk to Patrick?
It looks like he's a loose, free spirit.
Guy, Frank?
I think so. Oh, wait, and he does know, right? He does know?
Now I'm thinking, I'm wondering, because she said she whatever, I can't talk to
re-enlisted.
Yep, that one. And, so he went away, and so maybe he didn't know at the time that she was pregnant. To say like you're in the bind, because maybe he wouldn't have re-enlisted if he knew that she was pregnant. Maybe he would have stayed around, maybe or maybe not. Like you said, he does seem like a free spirit, so he probably would have been like, oh, I'm out. But we don't really know that yet. So I'm wondering, I feel like he didn't know. So now it's like, are they going to bring him back? And are they going to expose that? Is Patrick going to try to go find Frank now and confront him and say, you're my father?
Yeah, because lots of children who are missing that once that void comes into place, they want to know.
Right, like he said, Patrick said he always felt like an outsider.
That's true.
So now he feels like, well, that feeling didn't come from just anywhere. It's actually how I felt. Like I knew I didn't really belong here. I wasn't totally, you know what I mean, a whole like everyone else. Right. There was a part of him he felt was missing. So now it is, and now he knows what that piece is. So I think he might try to find Frank.
Yeah, that's why that meeting scene was so pivotal. It felt very like, whoever his friends are in that meeting, like, be there for him right now. And I even had a flash forward in my head. I was like, I wonder let's say I guess we're assuming he may spiral, right? I'm hoping maybe that young gentleman, like, is his shining light on some level.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know it's TV, but just something like that, maybe.
Yeah. To kind of bring him back.
That was rough. That was rough for Patrick.
Yeah, all these
was.
unanswered questions. But so let's talk a little bit about Kara and Orlando and their whole little spiraling thing going on. Orlando wants to move a little bit more into TV. We saw a little bit how Kara was helping him out in the past episodes. And now he's like, listen, I want to retire. I want to get in TV. I want to get my GED. I want to do it all. But somebody else has another plan for him, and that's Orlando's mother. Very young, looking mama too.
Graduated the same class as Kara. They went to the same high school.
I was like, battle.
Young mama coming through.
Walked the same and everything.
Right?
That was so cute and weird at the same time.
Right, because when she came to Kara's apartment, unannounced. Well, I mean, Orlando knew, but Kara didn't. Not only were they drinking in the afternoon, taking shots, which I was like, okay, I'm down with mama.
Right?
She kissed Orlando on the lips.
Yeah.
Which seems like a no-no.
Right.
I mean, I guess you could do what you want
Like,
to
that's
do.
your son.
A lot of families do that, but hers, it lingered, I felt like.
Yes.
I felt like that lingered.
Yeah.
Felt like she took that bottom lip with her a little bit.
But it also did match her personality, though, I will say. Like,
It did, though, but it was weird.
Yeah.
It was a little weird, especially right after the shot. Like, ooh, mwah.
Right.
Yeah.
We ready, no?
And then you throw Kara into the whole like mini family reunion or family get together that the mom throws every time Orlando comes back home. And you just think, I thought the mom liked Kara in that little bit when they met at the apartment. But at the family get together, mama wasn't having it.
Oh, no.
She said no.
She was playing nice until she got in a good environment. Got her in a good place.
Right.
Lure you over here. Now I'm ready. But yeah, she's like, oh, not my son. And throwing a little shade, like, oh, yeah, he was the best at this and that. I always knew he'd be a baseball player. And like, basically, like, his time is not over yet. He won't be retiring anytime
Yeah, like
soon. And it was
she calls.
okay.
She was like, I call the plays.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah,
And I like the way, like, I don't think there was even a word that Kara said, but like Kara like turn. I think she like just like excelled and it was like and her face like did some kind of number and then she just like Orlando baby, you know.
Right? She
And
gave her the evil eye behind her. Like, Kara didn't even see her. She was just looking like.
because you know, like you're just so fed up with somebody, you gotta like turn and just be like, I can't deal with them, but I
Right.
could.
And I don't want to be disrespectful.
But I
That's
could.
his mother.
These eyes could roll up and back.
It was too much. I was like, not only are you throwing shade, but you talked about Kara's kids a little bit like, oh, he missed a game.
Right? I never missed a game with my son.
Exactly.
That was pretty. I thought that was like a salt in a wound kind of thing. Like Kara doesn't want to be in that situation.
It was
what
like,
she's
but like
trying
she
to
said,
say.
well, I have to work, you know. So
Can't all sit
it's
at
a
home.
new day. She's a working woman.
But Mama wasn't having it. So Mama just is thinking, okay, Orlando's got to keep playing baseball, keep playing. Orlando wants to get out of baseball. So he's like, babe, if you can talk to Garrett, maybe I can get my own little show, bring down the execs, and let's see how this goes. So they bring down the execs at the studio, and next thing you know, Garrett's like, oh, let's bring Danny along, even though she's supposed to be benched. But let's bring her in just to throw her a little ball.
Because he
Yeah.
doesn't have a backbone.
Well, he's under 30. Well, he's not under 30, but he's young.
Yeah, he's under 30. That's what they said. They said he
yeah,
was
she
under
said something
30.
along those lines.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Let's
So
see
he
you prove
hasn't-
yourself. You know.
Right. So he hasn't really, I feel like, have enough life in him
Right.
to be as stern as he possibly needs to be, or not back down from certain things, because like your ratings are higher. So even without Danny's situation, your ratings are still going up. So
Right.
you shouldn't be worried about what's going on Twitter.
Right.
You know what I mean? No, you're benched. I don't care about your Twitter trolls. Let that be.
The note I wrote
I
on,
run it
on,
here.
on my paper was like huge episode on infotainment, like between the mariachis, like there's no reason that main anchor needed to be in that scene, but
Exactly.
whatever, you know. So it was such an infotainment, like all the stuff they were trying to do to
Yeah.
catch buzz. But Orlando handled himself very well.
He
you know?
did.
Yeah.
Per Kara saying, let's turn it around, tell the immigrant story of your mother so we can
points.
see, you know, because as we always talk about, like the ignorance that comes with the Danny type, like comes from Sometimes it's pretty harsh, right? But a lot of times it's like ignorance because they don't know. So it was just the greatest way for him to be smooth and calm and say, this was what my story was, and this is how I derived into this situation, and this is how we all experience the American dream. And like Kara said at the end, like, okay, if we watch the same debate, we see two different things.
Right.
Because he definitely held his own, and that just goes to show, and I feel like that's proof with Garrett too, like, don't worry about her Twitter trolls, because they still, like, even though, like, everyone watching it, everyone in that room, even the mother, everyone's like, yes, like, he held his own, he did that. And then it's like you go on Twitter and she's like, oh, well, my fans don't think so. And it's like you said, you can watch the same debate and have a different opinion.
She was real cocky this episode. Like I said, in the other episodes, we've noticed she said stuff that was ignorant, right? But like she kind of did it from a place of like, oh, maybe she just doesn't know how she should talk or whatever. But this episode, it wasn't that. It was, she was Tommy Layering it all the way. Yeah.
And that's exactly why Garrett should not have given in to her, because now that just, you know, fuels her, and she feels like she's gonna walk around there like she's the boss, like she can kind of,
because she did walk different. She had little curly hair. She had, I think I don't remember her butt being that big in the dress. So I know she was popping in her head, like she was feeling herself. She really was, because her Twitter followers
exactly boosting her up.
And then they helped her get what she wanted, like she got back on, you know, to be able to do an interview and try to rip someone.
And now Garrett's still scared.
Right.
After all that, Garrett, you still in the same boat.
Still. But I'm excited to see what Kara's going to do with her.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, let me worry about her. I was like, oh, that's going to be good.
You know what? Let's get into some predictions, because I'm ready for it.
Okay.
See what's going to happen here.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, RJ, you want to kick it off?
Oh my goodness, what does RJ have to say? I think the 30-minute thing will happen. I don't know. I just feel like all this messiness, like the 30-minute thing, was it 30-minute hour?
For the prime time?
Yeah, the prime time. Sorry, I don't know why I'm calling it 30-minute.
Granted, MJ would get 30 minutes. Yeah.
Not speaking very well, just like how you were saying. 30-minute thing. No, the prime time special. I think hopefully it changes a lot in Mary Jane. You know, she's just so wrapped up into all this. And I'm not saying that I want her to leave Good Day USA by any means, but like, you know, maybe that's the fire. We saw Niecy get that fire lit by just, you know, how she started like creating her own businesses, became more grown. You know, Mary Jane is so off the rocker. It's why she's not keeping the man, or one of them. And I just feel like we're going to really see a lot with that special. It's going to bring Kara and Mary Jane together. And, you know, who's to say your vision, what you thought was Good Day USA, like, who's to say that's important anymore? She's a 40-year-old woman who's single. Right. You know, maybe she could learn, like, you know, I don't need to be doing this type of job. An interview that I did once was with Soledad O'Brien, who I love, from CNN. And I remember just the way she spoke. Like, it was more like, as long as I'm doing the work that I want to do. Like, I think she said something along the lines of, like, I don't know if I will ever go back to doing a 5-day-a-week show, because I want to do the stories I want to tell. So I would like to see, for the show's sake and for Mary Jane's sake, I think that's my prediction. Like, please, Mary Jane, let's get you to a place where you're talking about these issues in this new America.
Your happy place.
Yeah, like go to bat in that situation, maybe.
Right, because even though like an anchor chair was her goal, but it was always an anchor chair during prime time.
Right.
So I was like, I wonder, you know, then they switched the direction, and you know, and she became an anchor, but on daytime television, that wasn't necessarily really her goal.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
But then she ended up there. Yeah. So I kind of agree. I hope she gets
like
to her happy place. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But then it's like all this fluff and everything, and that's not the type of journalist that she is, or that she wants to be.
And we all know in this new social media age, like the people on the top necessarily aren't really. I mean, they could be there for whatever reason these days. Like, you need to love the project you're doing, much like the project we're doing here.
Yes.
So that's what I would like to see for Mary Jane.
I just would like to see Mary Jane get her dating life together. So at the end of this episode, we see she got real flowers from Justin, not the ones that Aaliyah sent her to kind of keep up a little facade. So that made me happy, because at first Justin wasn't talking to her. Then he did talk to her when she texted him about Simone, but then that was it. So great. He sends the flowers. So I was happy about that. And my prediction, like, let's say I didn't see the preview for next week. My prediction would be that he kind of comes back and they start on a better path for their relationship. She realizes it doesn't need to be broadcast and she kind of tones that down. And like I said earlier, she starts to protect him, his concerns, and his needs. And they live happily ever after. But I'm wrong. So,
I mean, we can hope.
We can hope.
Well, they just shattered my dreams for the preview for next week. So,
in regards to the fertility?
Yeah, so she goes to the fertility doctor, I guess, to kind of freeze her eggs. And then she asks for a sperm donor as well. And she's crying when she asks for it. So that made me
but do you think
sad.
that was a trailer? Well, I guess we can't work our way out of that.
know.
But I'm saying, could it be a trailer? Could it be something that doesn't really derive that way? Like,
Hopefully.
Hopefully. But
Hopefully. I hope they
I'm being
trick
hopeful,
me.
but actually, I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, I think so too. But I'm hoping that Justin is the one, and also maybe that she will, because in the beginning of this season she did kind of start with the therapy of the life coach or whatever like that, but she's still defensive, she's still in her own head, so she wasn't able to receive that information, and she was just being so defensive about it because the life coach or therapist was trying to call her out on her behavior. But now, since she does kind of have a Leah in her life, a person that that can give you the real, that hasn't been there for everything, so it's like her kind of advice that she can give to you, hopefully you take that and realize like she's not bashing you, she's not coming for you. So with that, maybe you're more open, and maybe you will go to therapy, because there are some things that you need to deal with, therefore you can move on and do better in relationships.
Right.
That's true. And when she finds out what happened with her mom too, obviously it's going to be a big blow, but maybe it could allow her to say, you know what, whatever happens, as I'm now learning from my mother's situation, I got to do the work. Because the mother, like, as bad as we want to judge her, she did do the work. Like, she did. It was a bad situation, but she put together a family. Like, she picked up the pieces, and maybe Mary Jane will get inspired by that. I'm so hopeful.
Maybe. Hopefully,
Like,
I
so.
hope too. Like,
We all want it to be like the perfect ending, like a
Right?
nice, tied up,
she can't
button-up
be
movie.
single for forever. You know what I mean? So, and it always takes two in relationships, and sometimes when a relationship goes bad, we kind of always want to blame the man, but it's not always the man's fault. Right. We can be a little crazy and a little, just not realizing our own issues. And so, like I said earlier, you just keep going through the same things over and over again because you're not addressing
And
it.
her expressing everything that she expressed that she very well already knows. There was no like holding that back. She knew these are the feelings she had. But it's like kind of like when you text somebody or when you talk with somebody, you let all that out. I mean, it's still in there and it could come back at any time. But I really felt like hopefully that's a pivotal moment for her. Like she almost lost a friend, She almost lost Aaliyah in that situation.
I mean, pretty great predictions. Y'all hit the nail on the head, really. I just would take, of course, it's going to get messy. Helen's going to come back and just let the cat out the bag for everybody. And we see MJ going to go off, so that's going to be a pretty good one. I enjoyed it. It was a good episode tonight.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too.
But before we go, first and foremost, hello everybody to our new users, our new watchers here and listeners. And if you already been to AfterBuzz, hello again. What's up? But for our new people, I'm speaking to you and some of our old ones back there. We're starting next month, expanding our new content, beyond just after shows. We're going to do a little bit more, with our guests and the whole format here. We're going to be moving our shows into, let's just say, different type of coverage shows here. We're going to have everything from comedy to drama to animated. Really, truly anything you can think of,
Like,
we're going to have.
can we do mime? Because our mime routine. Can we?
Oh, yeah.
Is this show? We're still working on this pitch. The mime show.
We'll save the mind for the next pitch.
We are expanding. Come on.
But pretty much we are expanding. We like to think of us here at AfterBuzz, the ESPN of TV, and we want y'all to get some contact over here, do a little bit of more year-round things. So we're going to be flipping it up next month, so we want y'all to stay tuned with us. And of course, you can always tweet us at all of our handles here. I'm Howard the Third. You can follow me on Twitter at Howard the Third, and Facebook, Instagram at Howard III. Miss Elle Marie, where can we follow you?
Yes, you guys can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at LMarieTV.
Oh, yes, you can follow me at Howard the Third. Oh, no, I'm sorry. My name is,
You forgot his name.
I'm just so bad at this every time. Randomly RJ. dot, dot, dot.
Nothing after that, just randomly RJ.
That's it.
Done.
Make sure you guys use the hashtag ABTVBMJ for us to see you. And get ready and buckle up for next month where we have this new thing coming here to AfterBuzz.
I'm excited. I can't
We're
wait.
excited, yes.
Change is good.
Till then, we will see
So is
you
weight
guys.
loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
My belly is just
trying to get on
hurting
that
in this
weight
little
loss
chair.
kick.
Can we
Ain't
do a
really-
show about
it
weight
ain't really
loss?
happening.
Listen.
Can we?
We're sitting in these little chairs. Oh, okay. Are we
All right.
done?
Well, we're going to see you guys next week and talk to you about weight loss on Twitter. So follow us there. Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro.
Views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.